The insights I receive or the knowledge I tap into often stem from the years of pain I have experienced, primarily mental pain. They are not random revelations, but rather the fruits of an inner battle that I have had to fight time and time again. Setbacks, injustices, inner fears that held me in their grip. I had to face them all, not only because life forced me to, but also because I wanted to. I felt a deep-rooted urge to break certain karmic cycles, to overcome inherited fears at all costs, and simply to improve myself. But this battle requires energy. Confronting old patterns and limiting beliefs is a process that demands not only mental strength, but also physical and emotional endurance. What I did not understand for a long time is that there needs to be a balance between effort and recovery. When you give everything in a race, you must also rest. When you push yourself to the limit to transform negative aspects of your life, you must also allow yourself space to breathe. This is a principle found everywhere in nature. Day and night, ebb and flow, inhaling and exhaling. Rest is not weakness. It is an essential part of progress. Yet for years I ignored this signal. I fought obsessively, without pause, without acknowledging that recovery is just as important as the battle itself. My body warned me, my mind gave subtle signs, but I was deaf to those signals until life forced me to listen, until I was confronted with the consequences of overexertion, both physically and mentally. And that is a hard lesson. If you do not restore balance yourself, life will do it for you, often in ways you did not foresee or want. What we often forget is that no one on the outside can see the inner battles you're fighting, and they don't need to. This is a process that takes place deep within, a struggle between your old self and your new self. There is something beautiful about that personal, invisible path of transformation. You do not need an audience to grow. You do not need to burden others with your process. But you do need to be honest with yourself. Are you truly evolving, or are you stuck in the same patterns under the guise of self-development? Finding balance between who you were and who you want to become is crucial. If you push too hard away from your past, you create tension that will eventually need to be corrected. Life always forces you toward balance. Whether you choose to stay balanced yourself or the universe forces you through circumstances, the result is the same. If you keep going without rest, without reflection, there will come a moment when you are forced to stop. This is not because the universe wants to punish you, but because everything in life follows a natural law. Everything in the universe wants to grow. Look at nature. Trees stretch their branches further and further. The universe itself continuously expands. Our bodies grow. Our minds develop. Our knowledge expands. Bloodlines continue. Growth is inevitable, but growth comes with pain. Transition requires sacrifice. Old patterns must die to make way for the new. This is a universal law that no one can escape. Compare it to a child learning to walk. They will fall, get up, try again, each time with a little more insight than before. But at some point they master the skill. The experience of falling is no longer needed. This applies to everything in life. A constant back and forth movement between falling and getting up until we have learned enough to reach the next level. Until we realize that we no longer need to stumble over the same obstacles. Many people look back at history and point an accusing finger at the past. They place themselves in a victim role and focus on the mistakes humanity has made. But the real question is this still happening now? Have we learned from the past? What was then is no longer today. This means that we, as humanity, have evolved. We know better now. The knowledge that was once limited to a few is now accessible to everyone. The internet has connected the world, allowing insights to spread faster. We cannot look at the past with anger because that past was simply a reflection of the limited level of awareness at the time. If we keep holding on to resentment, we are literally projecting the pain of the past into the present, while the world has already moved forward. This is how old destructive forces manifest themselves again, by reactivating emotions like hate and anger long after they have lost their original function. We see this on an individual level as well. When you have overcome a deep trauma or addiction, there always seems to come a moment when that old habit tries to tempt you again, as if the universe is testing you. Are you truly free, or is there still a hook where the past can latch on? This applies not only to personal growth, but also on a larger scale. Old destructive patterns from history sometimes resurface in a different form to see if we have really learned. But how we respond to them is entirely in our hands. When you break a negative cycle, you stand stronger than ever. But life will always give you the chance to prove that you have truly changed, not as a punishment, but as confirmation. And that is the ultimate sign of growth. No longer falling back into old patterns, but recognizing with a smile that you outgrew that phase long ago. You are not here to remain stuck in the past. You are here to move forward, to evolve, to discover how powerful you truly are. And yes, that path comes with falling and getting up. But if you learn the lesson, you never have to return to the pain you once felt. Growth is inevitable. The only question is, do you embrace the process or do you resist it? The remarkable thing is that this growth is not just for you. Every step you take changes something in your bloodline. The fears you overcome no longer need to be carried by your children. The patterns you break are no longer passed down. You are the point in your family history where the cycle stops and something new begins. You have the chance to break the chain of suffering so that future generations get a different start. This means that your inner work extends far beyond yourself. You are not just engaged in self-development, you are restoring the energy of your ancestors. By growing, you purify the karmic burden of your bloodline. And that may be the most valuable legacy you can leave behind. Imagine what happens when more and more people take this responsibility. A new generation without the heavy burden of old fears and limiting beliefs. A world where children grow up without the mental chains that have been passed down for generations. This is how we create real change. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone who comes after us.